Hello, and welcome to this presentation of Wise Womanhood Holistic Women's Health. And I am Tara Raphael, Ayurvedic practitioner, and today I'm going to share with you the fifth in a series on Ayurveda awareness to help you to take care of yourself and be healthier by using Ayurveda. And today's topic is Ayurvedic Daily Routine. So I'm going to be sharing a lot of different techniques with you and ideas of things to do. And of course, changing our habits and adding new things is sometimes a challenge to do these things, because if you're used to going a certain direction every day, changing that direction a little bit takes extra energy. So it will take some extra energy to change your habits, and then once you establish them, then they will be habits and it will be easier to do them. Just as when we brush our teeth on a regular basis, it's just a habit and we don't really have to think about it anymore. The same with many of these daily routines that can help stabilize your health. This idea of having a routine is especially important for people who have too much vata or who have a vata constitution. Because again, as you learned earlier in the first couple of videos, you learn that vata is made up of air and space. So it tends to expand, just like air will expand into any kind of container, or if there's no container, it'll just expand, expand, expand. So what happens with our lives is that if we have too much vata expansion going on, change, movement, traveling, studying, expanding our mind too much, all those things can cause us to be losing our ground because we're just becoming too expanded. What routines do is they help to channel that creative, expansive energy into useful forms. So in the terms of the Ayurvedic daily routine, it will help to calm the vata. It will help to keep everything well lubricated, moving. And this is again in Colorado where I am based. It's very dry, and many of the places in the Southwest are quite dry, and all the more reason to do these special routines. So, first I'm going to share a slideshow with you, and then I'm going to show you some specific techniques that I mention in the slideshow on the screen, so you can kind of get some more ideas in person. All right, so let me get your slideshow up for you to see. And again, if you want to, you can make the slideshow fill up your screen more by putting your cursor over the slideshow, and in the upper right-hand corner, there's a little icon that will maximize it if you just click on that. So, Ayurvedic daily routines. And again, especially if you're vata, you might become overwhelmed because there are so many new things to do. So in that case, just pick a couple of things to start with, and then as those become more routine over a month or so of practice, then you can add a couple more. Some of them are quite easy. So the wake-up routine is to wake up before sunrise is really the best. In general, just right around sunrise for vatas, about 45 minutes for pittas and about an hour and a half before kaphas. Now, of course, sunrise is something that changes throughout the year. And so when it is a longer night, then you'll sleep longer because you're going with the sunrise. And in the summer, when there's more sunshine, you'll sleep a little less, and that will be just fine. On your first wake, think about something that's uplifting. So you can think about God if you use that word to describe your spiritual guidance, or you could think of love or joy. Very uplifting things to think about when you first wake. It's a good way for your mind to start being channeled into the good direction for that day. So when you get up, it's good to put your right foot first onto the ground when you get out of bed. And this, excuse me, this is probably where they got that saying, if you got out of the bed on the wrong side of the bed, because if you put your right foot down first, it's another way of saying that. So, um, again, that's simple. It's probably not the most important thing in the world. I think remembering something good is really the most important thing in the morning. Um, You can wash your face with some refreshing water and splash your eyes with pure water and kind of rinse off the night up to your elbows and up to your knees. Another way to do this would be just to use rose water, which I use, or some other floral essence or such that you infuse into some water, and you could spray it on yourself. Or if you like, um, if you're a kapha person especially, you could smudge yourself, and that would be more appropriate than the watery way of cleaning your aura. So you could smudge yourself with sage or other burning herbs. So in the morning, you want to clear all the dross that has accumulated overnight as your body is detoxing while you sleep. So you want to drink a glass of water. So for vata, it is good to have warm water. For pitta, you have cool water or some triphala water, which is the common Ayurvedic herb soaked in water. Or have, for kapha, some hot water with honey. And you might think, why honey? That's sweet. Don't kaphas have too much sweet? But as I taught in an earlier class on some of the ways to balance, that honey is the most heating of all the sweeteners, and it also has a special property of scraping. So hot water with honey is actually a way to lose weight, if you have that in the morning first thing, if you have too much kapha. Another thing you can do after you've had a drink of water is to swish sesame oil in your mouth for about 15 minutes. And you want to wait until it's like really foamy, and then you spit it into the toilet. You don't put it in the drain. It might clog the drain to put the oil down it like that. Um, and oftentimes I'll actually might do this while I'm in the shower or the bath. While I'm in the shower, it's a good time to do it because you're not going to be talking unless you like to sing in the shower, and then you should definitely sing. You want to scrape the tongue, and you can brush and floss your teeth, and then help your bowels move by taking the child's pose, which is in this picture on this left, or doing some kind of movement exercise to help move your bowels. Or if you know the Maya abdominal self massage, that will also stimulate and help your bowels to move. So then we set the mind and emotions for the day, which we started doing with our good thoughts as we awaken. And so this is a good time to drink some Brahmi tea, or Gotu kola tea is another name for it. Tulsi tea is another great tea. It's traditionally used to clear your energy, and also physically it helps your immune system. So then it's time to meditate. And there are many ways to meditate. Um, and I could probably do a whole informative talk about meditation, and maybe I will at some point. But basically, you want to be alert and relaxed when you meditate. And there, it's good to find someone to teach you meditation, because it's really not so easy to do it on your own. There's certainly videos on YouTube that have lots of teaching people telling you how to meditate, but having someone you can talk to about what's going on with your meditation can help you stick to it, because it's quite easy to become discouraged or even think you're meditating when really what you're doing is just increasing your brain thoughts and stimulating more attachment in your mind, rather than meditating to allow your mind to release some attachments. Self massage can come then after meditation, and you can do self massage with sesame oil, or if you're pitta, with sunflower oil. And you want to remember to oil your ears and even inside your ears. And I'll talk more about this after the slideshow. Men should do prostate self-care a couple times a week at least to keep their prostate healthy. And women should do daily breast massage. When you when you do your massage of your whole body, you can do it then, or you can do it in the shower or bath. And to do your Kegel exercises, which strengthen and relax with the exercise, your perineal and anal muscle exercises. This is also a good time to oil your nose or do a nasya as instructed, and we'll talk more about that after the slideshow. So next we would do exercise and bathing. So you can do some eye exercises to strengthen your eyes, which is very good for pitta. You can do your morning exercise, which might be yoga or a brisk walk or some gardening, and then take a shower afterwards and do your personal cleansing. And we recommend that you avoid soap on a daily basis and just use the soap regularly on the hairy parts of your body, which is where bacteria will tend to accumulate on you. And one of the tips about doing the self massage is before you shower or bathe, before you wash your hair, especially, when you do the self massage, it's very good to put oil on your scalp. However, for women, especially with long hair, it can become a lot of work to wash your hair and do it very frequently. So in that case, especially if you're feeling pretty grounded and good already, you could maybe just do that once or twice a week rather than every day, or just do it when you're feeling very vata, to include the head massage. But one of the good ways to get the shampoo to take out all that oil is before you get your hair wet, you want to put the shampoo on the oil and massage the oil and the shampoo together. And that will get the shampoo to break down the oil more readily. And because when shampoo mixes with water, the water will not mix with the oil. So we're just adding the water to help wash away the soap that has dissolved the oil. So that's just one tip to make it easier to do the self massage and also include your scalp. So breakfast, you do want to eat a good breakfast in general. So if, especially when the weather's cool, you want some cooked hot cereal. I actually eat stir-fried vegetables oftentimes in the morning for breakfast. You don't have to have breakfast cereal or breakfast kind of breakfast. You don't have to have eggs. You can have leftovers from dinner that are warm, or you could have stir-fried vegetables and you could mix egg with it, or you could have, I often use sunflower seeds and some hemp seeds as my protein source in the morning, um, and mix that with the vegetables and put a little bit of spices on it, maybe curry or some other spices that you like. For kapha, buckwheat is a good kind of grain for kapha, and granola, because it's dry, is more good for kapha. You want to have some hot milk or herb tea and take your Ayurvedic herbs at breakfast. And eat 10 soaked and peeled almonds, because almonds are very nourishing to the immune or ojas of the body. It gives you stamina and strength as well as good immunity. Almonds also have been shown to help with such things as high blood pressure, and there's a lot of calcium in almonds. So you want to soak them overnight. So at bedtime, you can put 10 organic almonds in a little cup with, cover them with water. And then in the morning, if you squeeze the nuts, the skin will come loose and take off the skin very easily. It just pops out, and then you have the white almond, and that's what you would eat. Too many almonds can be too much, but 10 is about a good number. So Vatas must have breakfast. Vatas should not skip breakfast. And I will tell you, as a predominantly Vata person, this can be a challenge, because what happens is I get up in the morning and I start doing things, and I'm just busy doing things, and I forget to eat breakfast. And my kapha husband always reminds me not to skip breakfast. So he saves me when he's around. Um, but you can remember that if you don't eat breakfast, you'll probably end up being more vata that whole day long. So please eat on schedule. And again, like I mentioned in one of the other videos, when we eat on a regular basis, the same time pretty much every day, then our body will digest better, because it will actually start to create the digestive enzymes very, around that regular meal time, and we'll get hungry and we'll be ready to receive the food and make good use of it right away. So that's another reason for routine, especially for Vata people who might tend to be not in routine. So Pitta might be able to skip breakfast sometimes if they drink some milk, um, and eat a big lunch around 11:30 and not wait until 1 o'clock to eat lunch. Kaphas can skip breakfast or just have some fruit or a veggie juice, um, because they are already generally heavy and can withstand that compared to the lightness of vata. So then you're ready to go to work, go into your day of whatever kind of work that you do during the day. During the work day, if you're sitting a lot at work, you should take walk breaks frequently. And if you're standing at work a lot, you should take sitting breaks. If you feel that you need some sweet snacks, bring some healthy ones like dates, coconut date rolls, raisins, natural cookies without white sugar, and organic chocolate. And even having some on hand if people bring sweets to work a lot, while they're eating the other sweets, you can have your healthy sweets instead. Um, Lunch is ideally the main meal of the day, and it's important to really not try not to be talking or doing business or working at your desk and so forth while you eat. It's important to think of your food as a kind of sacrifice to the inner digestive fire and to really pay attention, in effect, be like you're meditating on your food as you're eating it, really tasting it, smelling it, feeling how it feels in your mouth, chewing it carefully, swallowing it. All these things help you to avoid overeating, and also help you digest it. When you are chewing your food and mixing it with saliva, when you taste that taste in your mouth very strongly, that actually signals your stomach to make the right digestive enzymes for that particular food. So depending on the taste of the food, that's how you digest it in your stomach. So that makes it all the more important to chew it and taste it really well. And then in the afternoon, you could have a tea break. You could have cumin, coriander, or fennel tea, which is an equal mixture of those seeds. And then you take that 1 teaspoon of that mixture and simmer it for 10 minutes to make the tea. Now, if you don't have a way to do that at work, you can make it at home in the morning and then carry it in a thermos or in a container that you can reheat, so you can reheat it. But thermoses often work very well. Or you can bring some of the Brahmi or Gotu Kola tea to help nourish your nervous system in the afternoon. And if you have a problem eating too many sweets or having too many snacks, you might consider having tea with a little honey in it instead of having a sweet snack. And that might allow you to satisfy your wish for the sweetness without having more food that's heavy to digest. So, in the early evening after work, when you come home from work, you want to really clear that energy of work and let go of it. So you might take a walk to clear and unwind and pay attention to breathing well so that you really release your whole body through your breath. In the evening, it's good to have another meditation sitting before dinner. Again, that's kind of resetting your mind after the work day. And dinner, you want to eat well, eat healthy food for you, eat lightly, so you don't want to have too much heavy food. So you might have some heavy food, but just have a little bit of it. It's better not to eat out, because our food is really, you're taking it into your body, and whoever cooks it actually can put their energy into it. And if the person who's cooking in the kitchen is angry or has other emotional problems, that can go into your food that you're eating. Besides the fact that when you eat at a restaurant, you very seldom know all the possible things that are in the food. And I know of lots of people who have eaten food that has made them sick for one way or another because they didn't know what was in it. So it's good to have a simple meal. It could be just some soup that you warm up, and you could have a crock pot again, one of our good friends of cooking for ourselves. So you could get the food ready, put it in the crock pot, and go to work. And then when you come home from work, your meal will be ready to serve. And it's almost like having a, a chef that's waiting on you. um, so then after dinner is the evening relaxation time. So this is a kapha time. It's a time to just be sociable, write in your journal, read, watch videos, have family time, play music, and so forth. So it's important for vatas to avoid horror movies, talking a lot on the phone, or trying to get more done, because vatas, like I say, they're always expanding into the time and they're just trying hard to get more and more to fit in before they have to go to bed. Um, Pittas should avoid violent movies, um, working at home more and more, because pittas work more and more because they are ambitious and they want to get ahead and do a good job, which is a good goal. So they may continue working more and more, even though that will tend to make them more pitta. Kaphas should avoid watching TV with a remote, eating ice cream, chips, beer, soda, and so forth. None of those are probably that good for any of the doshas, actually, but we want kaphas to avoid being couch potatoes in the evening. So remember that screen time increases vata and pitta with overstimulation and frightening or violent images, and kapha is increased by the passivity of screen time. Bedtime, it's good to have a drink, and different ones according to your needs. Triphala is a good thing to have in the evening. You don't take it both in the morning and the evening, so you can choose which time works better. And you don't take it with milk. So if you have triphala tea at bedtime, don't also have spiced milk, because the triphala is made up of fruit that are dried, and the fruit will not mix well with the milk. Um, you can take a nerving kind of tea, especially if you're very high strung. So Dr. Lad has a good night sleep tea, which has things like mint, catnip, skullcap, lemon balm, and nettles in it. Um, or you could have some warm spiced milk to help you go to sleep at night. And you could add some ashwagandha herb to it, because that is a specific for helping people to sleep and reduce their vata. So once you're actually getting into bed, so when you're in bed, you might want to read to kind of wind down. You should read things that are uplifting. It might be spiritual writings or it might be a story, but it shouldn't be exciting. It should be just loving, heart expanding, um, that kind of thing, so that it's kind of setting the stage for your night and your dreams. You could do a nasya of Brahmi ghee at bedtime to nourish the nervous system, or you may have done it in the morning. And if your eyes are red and itchy, you can put a little drop of castor oil in them right before you go to sleep, because it will make your eyes cloudy. So you don't want to do that before you read. That's right before you go to bed. And you want to nourish your ears, especially if you have ringing in your ears, with some warm sesame oil in each ear, and let it sit in 5 to 10 minutes and then take it out. But don't do this if you have had surgery and had tubes put into your ears. You also could oil the soles of your feet with sesame oil, or Banyan Botanicals has a special sleep formula oil just for massaging onto your feet at bedtime. The ideal bedtime is about 9:30 in the winter and about 10:30 in the summer. Vata should sleep as much as they can and often have disturbed sleep, so that's an always thing for Vatas pretty much. Pittas are average sleep, 7 to 8 hours, and Kaphas can tend to have less sleep, 5 to 6 hours. But no day napping is really a good thing unless you're very weak or sick, or maybe if you're pregnant, especially certain parts of the pregnancy, you might do it. But Kaphas should really avoid that because of their tendency to just want to sleep all the time. So we don't want to encourage them to sleep in the daytime as well as at night. So I'm going to just share a little bit of some of the things I do in my routine and show them to you so that you have more of an idea. Um, so one of the things that I do in the morning is I use this special medicated ghee that was made specially for my needs. Um, and I'll take some on a little Q-tip and just swish it around the inside of my nostrils and up inside my nose on each side. And that oils my nose and also gives me some herbal input. If you don't have a special formula at this time, you can use just plain sesame oil and do the same thing. Just dip the Q-tip in one side for each nostril and then gently massage it around inside to oil the whole thing. And this can be very helpful for breathing, for overcoming bacteria or so forth. Now, one thing we didn't mention in there is nasal washing. And a lot of people do that, especially if you have a tendency to have infections of the sinuses. Nasal washing, you can use a neti pot, um, or you can use these little squeezy bottles that squeeze the water up. And the water always has some natural salt in it, so it's this natural saline solution. And you can buy little packets that work with the little squeeze bottle or with your neti pot, so you don't have to measure it each time. And then you dissolve it with pure water. I don't use just straight tap water. I use filtered water, and then I warm it up to about body temperature, and then I put it into the container with the salt and dissolve the salt and rinse the nose when I need to. I don't do that regularly, but some people need to, and if you have a question, you should ask your Ayurvedic practitioner. Um, but if you're doing the neti pot, the rinsing of the nostrils, you don't want to do the oiling until another time. So, for instance, you might do the neti pot in the morning and do the oiling at night, or wait until later in the day to do the oiling after you do the neti pot. Um, the other important thing with the neti pot is that you want to make sure you get all the water out of the upper sinuses that you've put up in there. You want to rinse the sinuses, but you don't want the water to sit. It can become causing congestion or infections. So one of the ways to make sure you get it out is to take a tissue in your hands and then take a deep breath after you do the rinsing for both nostrils. And then when you rinse, then afterwards, you're going to gently expel any mucus or water by into a tissue. But then once you've done that, you're going to take another tissue and you're going to take a deep breath, and then you're going to go exhale forcefully as you lean forward. Exhale out of both nostrils forcefully. So, but you can actually bend so your body goes lower, your head goes lower than your body as much as you can. It's hard to do sitting in a chair. Usually I do it standing up. But that's how you can actually make the water to come out faster. And it doesn't stick in there. So another thing we talked about was scraping, and you can buy tongue scrapers such as this, or you can use like a spoon, a big teaspoon, um, and you're gently going to scrape maybe 5 to 7 times. You might want to look at your tongue first for your daily check-in to see what your coating on your tongue looks like. And what this does is it removes that scum that forms on our mouth when we sleep, when we're detoxing, and also there's bacteria in there and so forth. So, but that helps to keep our mouth fresher when we scrape the tongue on a regular basis. Now, the other thing we mentioned was you could put oil in your ear. Again, I have some special oil that was made for me. And the way that I warm it up is I'll put my bathroom sink plug in and put after I run water so it's real hot, put some really hot water, and then just lay the bottle in the sink when it's closed really good. And then if I leave it in there while I'm doing other things in my morning routine, and then I'll take it out, and then I just take the dropper and put a dropper full of oil in each ear, and then as I put it in, then I put a little wad of cotton in there to hold it in, and then I do the other ear, put it in, and then I can go about completing my morning routine, leave it in for a while, and then I remove it, having a tissue nearby in case more oil will come out. Sometimes it'll dribble down, so you might want to have a tissue handy, especially if you do that after you've already showered and changed your clothes and everything. So then the self-massage is another big topic. If you go to banyanbotanicals.com, they do have some videos there that talk about, example, making triphala tea. They tell how to do that. They tell how to do self-massage of your body, of your head, and of your feet. And so they have those helpful visuals. I'm not going to do a whole body massage right now, but I do kind of talk and go over that with my clients and give them handouts how to do it. The self-massage, again, you want to do that before you shower and make sure you don't get cold or chilled while you're doing the massage. And you might use some towels that are kind of oil towels that you're going to be okay with getting oil on. And that will help protect your bathroom. And you also want to be careful when you oil your feet, when you get it into the bathtub or into the shower, be careful that you don't slip. And again, the hot water will help to dissolve the oil a little bit, but it opens up the pores of your skin, the warm water, and allows the oil to kind of go into your skin more, so it's not just on the surface. And that's one reason to do it before the shower. And it also will kind of remove some of the excess oil that isn't being absorbed. It keeps your skin nice and supple, and it allows it to be healthier in general, especially prevents premature aging. So the self-massage with oil is really highly recommended. Again, most important for vatas. Kaphas could just use a loofah and do in the shower. That would be great because they need more roughness. But loofahs are kind of too rough for vata kind of people and vata type imbalances. So that kind of covers what I wanted to share with you about the self care routine. And please remember to contact me if you have specific questions. You can email me at wisewomanhood@gmail.com. And also on my website, wisewomanhood.com, on the homepage, you can set up an introductory phone conversation with me if you'd like to find out more about having Ayurvedic care from me. You can set that up and we'll talk about what concerns you have, and I'll tell you some of the ideas or what I see that Ayurveda could do for you in this situation. And then I do video kinds of conferencing, just like I made this video. I can do online consultations, so I can actually see you and you can see me, even if we're not in the same location. And if you are in the Boulder County area or beyond in Colorado, would like to come for in person, all the better. Or if you visit, I'd love to be able to do your pulses and give you some more information from that venue. So thank you for watching this and learning about Ayurveda, learning about taking care of yourself. As you love yourself and take care of yourself, you are bringing more love into the world. And it is a worthy thing to take good care of yourself. So please heed the advice I have given you and go forward, learning more, taking better and better care of yourself as you go through your life. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.